8 minutes.
Yeah, hit the button. We're good. I look
8
like.
minutes. 8 minutes.
Oh wait, I have to wear this. Sean made it for me. I have to wear it to start with.
Oh, that's cute.
Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
everybody.
That's
How the heck is everybody
Hi,
doing?
guys.
Is that a tinfoil
Finally
hat?
arrived.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Oh,
That's
that-
amazing.
that is
That's
very
joyful.
Hi, everybody.
that's fantastic. Hi, everybody. What's everybody doing?
Just waiting for us? Sorry.
Just hanging out.
Sorry,
We're
you
apologetic. We're
Sorry.
sorry for our fault.
Yeah.
My fault.
Sorry for
My fault. My fault.
We're here now.
As you can see, we are down 2 people today. Patricia is in Spain, and it's like the middle of the night there for her. And then also Katie is not feeling well. And so we tried to, those are the 2 people who supposedly know how we do these things. And so we had to try and get another person.
The worst possible person.
Listen, attempts were made. It was great. But
I've never been that stressed out in my life. It's rocket science, guys.
Katie is our silent partner. She's letting us be here on the interwebs, but she's not actually here. So don't try to talk to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretend you don't see her. Ignore the person behind the curtain.
That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
Exactly. So
But we're here.
It's the other 4 of us.
Yeah. And we're glad you're here. Thanks for being with us today.
I'm getting ready to take this off, but my husband made me wear it to start with because this is my conspiracy tinfoil hat from the Super Bowl because I'm convinced it's rigged. And so he made me wear this.
Interesting.
So, anyway.
Understandable.
Okay.
A lot of you seem to find my superb owl name last week pretty funny. So just wanted to remind you that if you are watching the superb owl, I hope you are enjoying your sports team of choice.
I hope you're having fun.
You're having fun. But you should also be watching us. And hopefully you are, maybe you're, multitasking. That's fine.
That's really cool. Yeah.
You can do that. Okay.
Yeah.
I like the traditions around the superb owl. I think it's cool when people have like certain foods that they make and different traditions, and I like that a lot. I think
getting together with friends is never a bad thing. Hanging out, yelling at the TV. It's all things we like to do, right?
In fact, this last week I went to the deli counter at Safeway, and I was like, "How are y'all doing?" And they were like, we're okay, but why are you asking?" And I'm like, "Well, because you got the big weekend coming up." And they're like, "Oh yeah, we're like completely swamped." I'm like, "Really?" They're like, "Yeah, this is like Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, like every single holiday you can think of for the deli counter people. It's this weekend. It's
Siri, set an alarm for
Wait,
tomorrow.
Doc left us. Hold on.
I'm sure she'll be back. It's probably just her internet.
But I have to let her in, so I need to get back into.
I was
I'm going to show up twice again, so everybody bear with me because I got to be.
Just enjoy this, guys. Just enjoy.
enjoy.
Enjoy. You enjoy. Enjoy.
Double.
Double your pleasure. Double your fun.
You are doubled.
Yeah. Does that help if I turn that off? No. Okay.
No.
Where's Don?
So anyways, to all the people that are working to support the superb owl today, I salute you.
We give you JK tiny claps.
JK tiny claps for all of you that are doing all the things to support. There you go.
The superb owl.
Can
Can you make a third? Can you make a third? Maybe you can be your own thruple if you can make a third.
Turn it off. Doc, run.
Hold on, Doc. We're fine, Doc. We're fine.
Oh, shit. Praise the Lord. Okay. Oh, Lord. Okay.
Oh, that's nice. Drummer Squirrel said your 529 shirts are amazing. That's very sweet. Thank you.
Very sweet.
We work hard on those.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I think I can hear everybody no longer in a weird loop. It was looping 7 times. I was hearing everybody repeat the same comments over and over,
terrible.
and it started to stack. And I was like, I have no idea what's happening.
That sounds
I'm hearing one sound now, though. So thank God.
Well, here's the thing. This is like par for the course for us because not only we're usually a shit show, but 1 year ago during the Super Bowl, we also had a shit show while trying to get on YouTube. if you'll recall.
Yes.
It's fine.
This is like a yearly thing for us.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, because we originated, in case you're new here, and this is the first time you've seen 529, we started all of our lives over on the TikTok app.
Yes.
And so when we decided to move over to YouTube, we did it as we do all things, which we're like in stages. And we also, come with our wide JK debut eyes and we go, how hard could it be? Human beings figure this shit out all the time. But
unlike JK, we epically fail first.
Yeah.
How hard is it?
So, our first foray onto YouTube, we managed to get ourselves tossed.
Yeah. We sure did.
Yes, we did.
Because we were oh so innocently just trying to stream the halftime show. I don't know why. Why is that a big deal?
It's not like it's copyrighted or anything.
Yeah, they were like, yeah.
It's fine. Yeah.
They were like,
fine.
yeah.
We were like, 12 people are going to watch. Who's going to pay attention to the fact that we're streaming this?
Someone actually definitely paid attention.
The bot designed to look for that. That's who paid attention. The AI was like, oh, you bitches can't do that. And we're like,
absolutely not. Absolutely not. We got tossed on our butts.
Yep. We were like, okay.
We fucked around and we found out.
That didn't work.
Nope.
We did.
Good stuff.
We found out hard.
But here we are.
Here
we are now.
I don't even know who's in the house.
We're actually going to mix it up a little bit tonight. We're going to do it a little differently since we have two of our friends missing tonight. We're just going to get straight. We're going to do a few announcements and then get straight to the main topic, which is a deep dive into Yoongi, which who doesn't want to do that? And then
am I right?
Yep.
Yoongi.
Then skedaddle, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing all of our normal reminders. The only thing we're skipping is we're just like not doing member news tonight.
Yeah.
So
we'll do that on our midweek tea on Wednesday.
Ain't nobody got time for that. And guess what? There wasn't really a whole lot.
Yeah, we're just scraping to get news anyway. So
4
more months, and we'll have plenty of shit to talk about. Okay.
Yeah. So Steph, you want to just welcome everybody in real quick?
Welcome.
Even though, I love our long ass intros and then we welcome people in. I feel like that's our thing. That's our thing.
10 minutes in.
It feels like the way, just the way. It's fine.
I cannot see the agenda, but anyway, I will welcome. Welcome everybody. Welcome to AP529's live for Sunday night. Tonight is the night that we usually do a little bit of news and then we dive into a deep talk, which I just talked about. We have Quince over here. I don't know who I'm pointing at, but Quince, she writes our blog and hosts a weekly watch party, which if you are not doing, you should. And then we have Christina, who is our lovely designer of all things wonderful and helps with doesn't help. I think you probably do most of the website, right? Stuff. You and Katie.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, we all kind of do now at this point.
Yeah,
we all do our part. And then we have Doc, who leads our research team, and she knows all and can find all if she doesn't know it. And then we have our Katie, our golden Machne, who is here in face only, not in person. And she runs the show. She keeps us or tries to keep us in control. And she does the spreadsheets. And apparently she runs this NASA level, whatever you have to do to go live. Okay.
That's a level.
That's a level. I love it.
I feel like she can launch a spaceship. I have a whole new respect. Okay.
I love it.
I'm sure.
My name is
It's right on par.
And I just kind of pick up whatever is left and I do the newsletter and schedule stuff and do the envoy team and welcome people and stuff like that. So that's us. And what AP529 is basically a community that also focuses on content. And we decided to choose from January 1st of 2024 to Festa of 2025, 529 days between those two dates to do a deep dive into all things BTS and build a community while we've done it. And so I think we're doing a pretty okay job so far. So that's my intro.
Same.
Apparently trying to fix this shit up. Okay.
Apparently it's now halftime for the Superb Owl. So hopefully you don't all scurry away. I don't even know who's playing the halftime. I don't care.
I don't care enough.
Just doing that.
I'm sure somebody will tell us in the comments. It's fine.
Yeah.
Wait. Susie wants me to design an AP529 version of Fred jewelry. I don't know why you think I'm the person that you
That
should
would be Christina.
I mean, I could.
I mean, so okay, so
I
much
do
like
design, I do have some design, experience, but it's not my usual forte.
right, much like Bangtan though. We really do a good job if we need to help each other in the different areas of the project, and we've only gotten stronger and better in that in the year that we've been over the year that we've been together. So and luckily we're always working with each other in terms of like, hey, just give me your opinion. Like, it doesn't matter whether or not you think it's good or bad, just give me your opinion, what you think. And so that part is fun. That part is real fun. So people that say that they don't have any design experience, but actually help me out when I'm designing and come up with some really good ideas.
I have a good eye for it. I have a good eye for it. The execution is where I mess up.
So much like, even though Taeyong isn't officially a member of the rap line, he's a member of the rap line.
There you go.
And I'm really more like Jimin on the outside of the rap line being like, you're doing it great. And I'm not giving you.
Steph is so cute. Every time I ask for design inspiration, she's just like, I'm just happy to be here.
I love it. I love it.
Think about it. It looks amazing.
I just love it all.
I just cannot critique people. It hurts my heart. I can't do it.
Oh, that's
okay,
very
we
sweet.
love it. We love it. That's fine. I have no problems.
Yeah. Quince is like, yeah, I don't think that's it at all. Like at all.
Like roll it in and be like, friend, that's not it.
We're not even in the stadium at this point.
That's not it.
Oh,
you can pick up on the subtle cues from Stephanie though. If it's like all over case, that looks great. She's iffy on the pitch.
Yeah.
But if it's caps locked, oh my gosh, I love it. I need one. Then she truly loves it. It's great. Wrap that.
If you want actual feedback, from me, you have to ask me in private if you want like actual, because I will not give public critique. I don't know. I'm not good at that. So
that's so nice. This
is a great segue into talking about our merch, Christina.
Yes.
This is.
So for the merch, and I saw a comment earlier. Thank you for people that are supporting us and buying our merch, because it helps us keep the lights on for our project, and we appreciate you so much. We do design all of our merch in-house, all original designs, and we are really big fans of the if you know you know type of merch for two reasons. Number one, we like to challenge ourselves and be clever with our Bangtan designs, and number two, we don't want to get sued. There it is. So that's the last thing we want. So our AP529 Hobie Tour merch is up now on our website. The design is super fun. It is we took part of our retro series Hobie design, Hobie Dancing on the Street, and with the big gradient hope on the front of it, but then we just switched up the back of the shirt to list the cities for where he's going to be headed to. And so that's available now. And we also have a sign available that you can buy that's easy to roll up and take with you to the event, and then open it up. And, I should share my screen and show you what it looks like, because that would be the cool thing to do.
It's amazing.
That would be the cool thing to do. So let me get this. I don't want to disappoint. I don't want to disappoint anybody by not showing what we got here. So one second.
We also have our Yoongi retro design up, which is the last one in the series. So the retro series is complete. And Yoongi is amazing.
So here we go. We got the Yoongi design up right here. And then this is the Hobie support vinyl banner that we have available. And this is 12 by 24 inches. So it's meant to be something that you can take, roll up in your bag, because, we all have to have small bags when we're going to the concert, and then just unfold. And so that's available now on our website as well. And we will also have some free stuff available that you can print out and take if a banner's not your thing, because we want you to be able to show support either way. So monetary, non-monetary, all that good stuff. Yep. So, and then if I can show the shirt off real quick, this is our shop right here. So if you go to new, you'll see the Yoongi stuff, and then you'll see the J-Hope design. So here's J-Hope. And you will see all of us. There's the front. It's got 2 different versions, and there's the back. You will see all of the admin members who are going to be going to the concerts. You'll see us wearing the shirts, and then we have a lot of 529 folks that are going to be wearing it as well. So thank you. I love the fact that people are getting it and like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be wearing it. And how many people are we going to be? Are we going to see?
We have to try. We're going to try and take a picture, I think.
Yeah. I hope we see a ton of people wearing them. So there you go. And then I'll show you real quick. I'll show you the Yoongi, since we are talking about Mr. Min Yoongles today.
Indeed.
Here is our rockstar
Yoongi. Time. We're not doing news. We have time.
Yeah, we got plenty of time.
Yeah.
So, and this was the last design in our retro series. And I would say this is the design that I feel like, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this design was the most input all of us had in the final design. I feel like.
Click on it. Click on it. Click on it.
Oh, click on it. Sorry.
Make it bigger. Make it bigger.
Make it bigger. Can I make this bigger?
I don't know.
I thought you could. I
don't. Yeah, I don't think I can. Well, you know what? If you want to see it bigger, go to the website.
No, website. Not right now.
Go click on it.
affectionately.com/shop.
Yep. So yeah. So there we go. There's some new merch, and as always, we're thinking up new stuff right now. We're doing a motivational series that's got some really cool typography quotes from the guys to help make your 2025 feel a little bit more special. So
it will be special.
It will be very special.
It'll be special.
So there you go. Thank you so much.
Stephanie mentioned that I write the blog. We are currently in week 57 of our blog. That's a high number, you guys. Does anybody remember how many we were supposed to have? Like 75 or something?
75.
Who knew?
It's roughly 75.
Who knows? Yeah. Just out there, roughly. Yeah, we're almost, we're in the home stretch. We're getting ready to hit on our last 100 days countdowns are coming up, and it's crazy. But we're in week 57, which is the first week of Hosebuary, where we are celebrating all things Cheongposeok, J-Hope, this month. And I mean, just so happens to be his birthday month, which we'll be talking about that later. I think we're actually going to be, we're not going to be live on his birthday. Alas. But anyway, we'll still be talking about him. And then it's his tour, and he's got new music coming up. So he just decided to, give us all the gifts at one time, which is great. So it's first week of February, and it is I'm Your Hope, is what the blog is called this week.
I'm going to share the blog page so everybody knows what you're talking about here.
Yes. This is the Monday Muster, the 529 connection. And
there he is.
Oh,
look at him. So we had our weekly watch party. It was a lot of fun. Everybody had a great time. We watched a bunch of his audition dance audition tapes. And they were just tiny baby Hobie, so cute, but still so talented. And a lot of people, we had some new people. A lot of people hadn't seen any of those videos before, so that was really nice. Had a great time. And I'll talk about it again at the end of the live, but we will be dropping week 58 at midnight Eastern tonight. And that will be week 2 of February, and I'll tell you guys what it's called when we talk about it later. But yeah, if you haven't checked out week 57 yet, go ahead. it's still there. It's ready to be looked at. And let me know what you think. Let us know what you think. And yeah, come and join our watch parties too.
Good stuff.
Good times.
Look at us. We look like we know what the hell we're doing.
You know, I have to say this though, in all honesty, for as loosey goosey as we are sometimes in the lives, our blogs and the stuff that we do is well researched, well thought out, very, very very good.
Yeah.
So if you have never checked out one of our blogs before, it's not just a repository for links. It is actually curated. It is people who have watched everything, who have gone through, combed through, put everything together as a storyline. And then on top of that, Quince goes through and gives her creative context and her humor and personality injected into how does this all fit together in not only the minute details of the week, but how it fits into Bangtan's story as like a 30,000 foot view. So it's really unique. There's nothing else like it out there right now. I'm just going to.
And it'll be around forever as a resource. So.
And I'm totally biased, but it's fantastic. So please check it out. And it is free. It has always been free. We made that promise when we first started the project that, you know, we would have it available for people to be free, and it still is. So
thank you, Susie. She said, is there a Nobel Prize category for blogs?
For real.
Thank you.
That's very cool. That's very cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
A lot of effort goes into those blogs. So
yes, we are going to be doing a podcast, narrated version of them. We've talked about it. It's going to happen. We're starting to hammer out the details here soon. But it will definitely be something that will be able to pick up steam when we get less harried about actually producing the blogs.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're starting to talk about the details of it because many of you, and I mean many of you, and I love you all, many of you have come to me and told me that you love the way that I narrate it during the watch parties, and that I need to read the blogs out loud and have it be a thing. And I thank you guys so much. We're definitely going to be doing it. So stay tuned in the future for that.
Very cool.
Yep.
All right.
All right. So today, for those of you who know, on Sundays, we do our deep dive Sundays. And on Wednesdays, we do our week tea. So people are crossing stuff out before I talk about it. Wednesdays, we do our week
You can't read
tea,
that one sentence.
Tea. Listen, calm down.
Calm down.
When does it ever work to tell a woman to calm down?
It doesn't ever work.
Calm down,
it doesn't ever work. Listen. So Wednesdays we do our midweek tea. Sundays we do our deep dive into certain topics. And this Sunday we are taking a deep dive into Min Yoongi, also known as Suga, also known as Agust D, with a focus a little bit on his D-Day album. So stick around. Actually there's no stick around. Because we're not doing member news.
We're jumping
Sunday.
right to it.
We have one other thing to talk about before we get into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sort of, kind of. And that's the meetups, Stephanie. If you want to talk about
I didn't put that in there. Okay. I do have two things. But one of them is, anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay. The meetup. The meetup is coming up. And if I was good at math, I'd tell you when. I think it's July 23rd.
It's the 25th through the 27th, I think.
Yeah. That last sort of weekend in July, and it's in Kansas City. And this will be our second event. And last time we had about 90 people, and this time we can have up to 150. And we're gonna just have a great time. We doubled the length of the event, so we're all going to be together for a few days, and we're going to be watching concerts and playing games and
all kinds of stuff.
And if we're in the middle of something and anybody goes live, that's exactly what we will be watching them together. So it's just going to be so much fun. And the guys will have been back now a month by the time that comes. So it's going to be fantastic. So join. You can sign up on our website. And then the other thing I briefly wanted to talk about, because I feel like it's 4 years too late, but before we get into the main topic, is they announced, is it the Pantone color of the year?
Oh, the Pantone.
The Pantone.
No, I'm kidding.
Pantone.
The color of the year.
I was like, panties, what?
Yeah, panties. And they chose the color butter. And so here's the thing. I figure it's either 4 years too late or it's just on time because they know 44 million people have nothing on their mind but BTS. And we will buy all the butter colored shit they make. So I'm very excited.
I will say I only know how that word is pronounced because Jung Hosik was like, Pantone. I like this one. He's picking a color. This one, Pantone. This is the cutest fucking shit ever.
So cute.
That is so cute.
I digress.
Not panties, guys. This is
Not panties.
The official.
Pantone.
They're like the color people. They decide every year that there's a special color, and we all gather around it and we worship it in a circle.
It's kind of like Groundhog Day for designers.
We put it on a bunch of stuff, and then we don't think about it ever again.
Yeah.
Until the next time they announce the new Pantone, and we do it all again.
Until the next color wheel comes out of its hole and tells us if it sees its shadow again or not.
And then like the really fancy mixer, what's the baking mixer thing? Like they put out a new mixer.
The KitchenAid.
Yeah, with that
Oh,
color.
the KitchenAid thing. Yeah.
There's maybe like a butter yellow one. So anyway, get all your butter stuff.
Yeah. It's not just fashion. It's basically like the it color of the year as far as design goes across the board is what they're basically saying. So you're going to see it in fashion. You're going to see it in homewares. You're going to see it in like artistic stuff. That's basically kind of what they're saying, so.
Yeah. And Christina says, never heard of
Color
this.
of the
Well,
year.
that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
To educate.
Hey.
There you go.
Yeah.
Look at that. You're learning
Yeah.
things, not
Yeah.
just BTS. You learn
Not just
shit
BTS.
around here. We've been
That is
around the
really
block.
cool.
We've been around the block before, we know.
Mhm.
Yeah, paint.
Mhm.
Although I'm wondering, well, they did like a whole kitchen, like for the reveal, they had like a full kitchen in the yellow. That was a bit much for me.
Yeah,
But I'm sure it will be like accent colors and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah. You remember in the 70s when they did the goldenrod and the
Yes.
olive green?
Brady Bunch with the orange and the olive green and the yellow.
Yeah. Too much of anything is not great. So
Unless it's BTS.
I mean, is there too much BTS?
No.
Yeah.
The limit doesn't
I mean-
exist.
They've tried. They've tested us.
Oh, I was gonna say they definitely have been like, is this enough?
They've been trying. Is this too much? Is
this too much?
Is this too much? And we're like,
Is this-
We're like,
and
pretty
we're like,
fucking close.
I mean, they're hitting the line. They're
getting
getting
close.
the limit doesn't exist.
no complaints.
Well, and then they just do things like they're like, J-Hope, you should have a TikTok account. And he's like, I should have a TikTok account,
I should have a TikTok.
and I should dance in front of the camera in little 20-second intervals with like a hot song.
yeah.
Is what I should do.
Angles.
Yeah, I should put
fun
everybody. I should put everybody on the floor looking up at me while I dance. Okay.
Moment of silence. Anyway,
Moment of silence.
I can't say what I want to say right now without red carding myself. So we're just gonna move on.
Yep, we're just gonna move on. That's what we're gonna do.
You know what?
Katie
The only thing
does
that'll make us feel better is to
fine.
see him in person, I guess.
I guess we'll have to.
Oh, I guess that's the only choice.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Wearing our shirts
Feel
and
better
holding
too.
up our signs.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Katie usually does this part, so pardon if it's slightly half-assed, but we're still going to do it anyway. If you guys like what we do here,
Imagine that.
if you like our
girl can dream.
content, if you like coming to our lives, if you enjoy the blog, anything, please consider joining our Patreon. It helps us, along with the merch, it helps us to keep the lights on and cover expenses for the project. And we have little fun extras on all the tiers have different things. There are 3 different tiers, and we have little fun extras. Our top tier, which is our Violet VIPs, they have a special channel in our Discord where we can talk about, where they can chat with us. And we're planning some stuff for the future for them to make it even more special. but you can come and hang out with us, and you get a little. Don't they get a little VIP on their name or something like that?
Know.
I don't remember. Anyway, if they don't,
I do believe they get a role attached.
They should.
That's a role under their name.
It's a
Like
role,
if you go
yes.
to their bio, it has a role attached.
Yes, there we go. That's what it is. So consider joining our Patreon. You can find it on our website under the support button. You can also go to patreon.com/members and look us up, and you should be able to find us. But the easiest way is to go to our website and click on support. And that's how you can find our Patreon. So
and apparently, like we just learned, like here on YouTube, you can also, like if we say something witty and you like it, you can like throw us a coin or something on here.
There's like super chat stuff.
Apparently,
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure how it works.
Yeah. Or like use it to ask a
Mario.
question so it shows up or something. Anyway, we're learning.
Yes, it does. It highlights if you have a question and you want us to see it, it will highlight your question.
Yeah.
If you do the super chat thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We did notice that.
and much like anything else involving our lives with the project, we are winging it. When it comes to super chat, we don't really know what it means, but like people have done it, and we're like, hey, that's pretty cool. Their comment turns blue, and we're like, ooh, pretty.
Yes, and if you don't want to do that, at the very least, please make sure that you hit the little thumbs up button. And give not just the hearts to like the live over in the comment, but make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Oh my gosh, Llewellyn.
Llewellyn.
Oh. I've never seen the orange color before.
Oh my god.
Declare. Okay.
We
are
so
what do you want to talk about for the next 5 minutes?
Yeah, Luann, the next 5 minutes belongs to you. Give us a topic.
Luann,
I swear.
make it weird. Don't make it weird.
Don't make it weird. We have time, so give us a topic and we'll talk about it.
Oh my gosh. Jocelyn.
Oh, you guys are so
Stop it, Jocelyn. We'll talk about whatever you want anyway, Jocelyn. You don't got to butter us up, Jocelyn.
No. Listen, Jocelyn, your dollar thing deserves a yellow card. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yes.
Manelia says that this is her first time seeing us live. Well, welcome.
Welcome.
Luann wants us to talk about the meetup for all 7. You mean like when they first meet up and see each other again after getting out of the military? Is that what you mean? I'm going to take it that that's what you mean.
So you want us to go straight into Delulu?
Yeah.
Because we can't. We have a lot of headcanon.
Listen,
Jack.
All I know is Hugs will be involved for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I think first of all, I think Tae Young's gonna have a measuring tape because he has goals. He needs to find out if he met them.
He's gonna come with a scale and a measuring tape.
And a measuring tape.
We're gonna film a Run BTS
before we go anywhere.
But before we do fuck all, we're gonna.
Before anyone gets in the car, we're measuring right now.
He's gonna be calling the Hive interns. He's gonna be like, "I need you to prepare for me."
Stephanie, so I don't know if Stephanie's lungs can handle this.
He's got like a whiteboard. He's got like a whiteboard.
Yeah. It'll be like, you remember when they measured their arm length? Their arm length where they were having to measure from here to here. And Jimin was going, ha!
Yeah.
To get his arm longer. Yeah.
The best part of that was when they were all saying to Jimin, like, I don't know why you think this is important.
Now they think it's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's going to be number 1 is Tae Young being like, that's it, bitches. Let's measure up. We said this was going to be a contest.
I've been told you.
I done told you. And they're going to be like, no, you.
I done told you on that last OT4 live. I told you the competition was beginning.
Yes.
Not my fault if you didn't listen.
Remember right before Jimin felt me up? Yeah, I said it was going to be a competition. Before Jimin let the intrusive thoughts win.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we that's the funny part of imagining it, like, because if I really start to think about it, too much, like it makes me very emotional to think about it. We're all going to be emotional wrecks.
Yeah.
No matter what happens.
There will be crying.
Yeah.
There will be crying.
Well, I was in bed sick the last few days. I was watching a lot of the behind the scenes, them practicing and whatever. And I was specifically watching the preparation for the yet to come concert. And just how much fun they were having because they hadn't done that in a while. And I was like, I want live streaming the first time they all practice again together. Like, I would literally pay, I would pay for it. I would pay to watch the moment when they all get back together and they're in oh my God, yep.
And we'll be so easy. Like whatever crumbs they want to get, if they want to give us crumbs and pictures,
we're gonna be,
or if they want to go live, or if they whatever they want to do. Like,
Leslie gets a red card, by the way.
Oh, Leslie.
Oh crap, Leslie.
Shit.
Leslie, this is forever.
Leslie.
This is why we can't have any things.
This is why we get things.
This chat is held. People can read your shit in the futures.
In the future, yeah.
For the
Remember.
Anyway, so I think that was a good 5-minute
it really was.
John.
Thank you, Luann.
Thank
for the
you.
donation.
Thank you, Luann. And for everybody else who, because Jacqueline snuck right in there too.
Yeah, thank
you.
you.
Wow.
Jacqueline,
yeah, and there was another one. Jocelyn
and Jacqueline and
Jocelyn and Jacqueline. Jacqueline did it twice.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Jocelyn, Jacqueline, whoever Lynn, Jacelyn, just any more J Lynn names, go ahead. This is your moment.
He said we could call her Jackie before.
Okay.
Oh, cute. Okay.
Jackie, thank you.
Here's what I have a plan. Okay, so Hannah of Hype, if you're listening, please take notes. This is what I think you need to happen. Okay, I think for their first dance practice, for coming back together, I think you guys should put it on Weverse, and then just donate all proceeds to UNICEF, and that way you're doing two things at once.
Are you saying you want them to add a tipping function to Weverse?
Well, if we have to pay for it, I'm saying, like, if we have to pay to view it.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's different. Because I was I'm imagining concerts from now on, and it's just like.
I would tip.
Just the tip? Sorry, I read the card myself. It's fine. It's okay.
Hold on. Excuse me. What is this right here? Here we go. Okay. We're fine. It's fine. Anyway, so
fine. We'll red card ourselves.
It's fine.
Okay. Should we dive into Yoongi while we're talking about the two?
All right.
Let's see a red card.
Let's talk about Yoongi.
Actually, speaking of yellow cards, please show your yellow card because we're talking about Min Yoongi now.
We're talking about Min Yoongi.
Okay, where is he? Where'd he
go? Show us the yellow card. There he is. Look at him.
No seesaw. Oh boy.
Here somewhere.
That's my cheesecake. Okay.
That's my cheesecake.
Okay, so let's get serious because he is a serious man.
Yeah, always super serious.
Super serious all the time.
We do our deep dives, and I kind of put some thoughts together, and then since I don't really. Okay, here's the thing. You guys know this about me. I'm not someone who retains a ton of information unless I absolutely it's necessary for life. And so I don't remember everything. So when we do the deep dives, I basically just ask questions and let them do all that because they know it all. And then I might just throw in some banter. Okay, so the first thing that I kind of thought I wanted to bring up, because it's one of the things that I admire the most about Yoongi, is what I call kind of the David versus Goliath mentality, of which he has kind of made it through his career, right? So from being kind of overlooked as a rapper and being called a sellout literally to his face, basically, with Namjoon during that interview. And he even said during, his concert, all of my songs were always, you always know I was angry. It was all of that kind of stuff. And so he kind of used that as fuel. So I really kind of want to get your impressions on how you feel like him having that underdog mentality, that dog in the fight kind of thing, that I'm from Daegu and, I mean, how do you think that affected his start? And then sort of helped him kind of through that travel of getting to where he is now, where he's basically the husband of 44 million people.
It's something I've thought deeply about while writing the blog, because it's so apparent. If you really look at him, it's so apparent, especially in his music. The way, I mean, even before then, and I love the way that you put it, like a David versus Goliath mentality. I love the way that you phrase that, because it really is true. He always, I think he like kind of came out of the gate feeling like he was looking up at everybody and he had to figure out how to get up there, and was willing to do what he needed to do it. But even before he got to Soul and joined Big Hit, he was already like fighting against, his parents didn't support him in his choice to be a rapper. So he was basically like, I think they offered like the bare minimum of support to him as far as like living, but like he had to basically earn his own money on top of what he was trying to do. And then, he was working at a studio, and then he was writing songs for people, but he wasn't always getting paid for them. And so he just kept getting screwed over. And then he's like, all right, fine, I'm going to go to Soul, because he had that like big fish in a small pond going on. He's like, okay, I'm going to go to the big pond. And he gets there and he's in the underground scene again, and he's got respect, but he's still not where he wants to be. And it's just a constant flow of fighting and fighting, even once he got into Big Hit, he was still fighting, because then he was fighting all of his former peers from the underground rap scene, because they were telling him that he was selling out. So I think I think that constant, it is, I almost like think of him as like a knife's edge, always like honing himself, like ready to fight at a moment's notice, no matter what. Doesn't really want to. He doesn't ever want to. Like, he really would rather be a rock just asleep, but he's always ready, like, to go if he needs to. And it just never stopped for a long time. But eventually he worked it out through his music. And probably a lot of therapy, and getting to that point where I think he felt like he was at the top of that level, where he was no longer looking up at anybody. He was looking down now, and he was looking for people to help to pull up next to him. And I think once he got to that point, I think now there's no more David versus Goliath now. Now he just is who he is.
And he doesn't want anybody else to feel like a David.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So he definitely has the behavior, and he seems to have the mentality of trying to make sure nobody else has to face the same fight he had to face. Like, he's going to whoever wants help or asks for help, or that he feels needs help, he's going to reach out and he's going to offer it.
And I think to tag on to what you're saying, Doc, I completely agree. And I think where that comes from too is when you have the confidence in your own abilities, because let's face it, his background, just like, Namjoon, you're coming from a hip hop culture, right? And in a hip hop culture, you're going to brag. You want to be the best. You want to brag, have things that you can be confident about. You don't come out there and, try to, you're going to be the best. And one of those things is you write your own stuff, right? You write it, you write your feelings down, and you're the artist, right? You don't have ghostwriters. You're going to write your own stuff. And so the fact that he also is so into the hip hop culture and writing your own stuff, and he's so confident in his own abilities, means that he's not threatened by up and coming talent in the music industry that he loves. That doesn't threaten him. Why would it?
Right.
So I really love that. Yeah, it comes back to now that he's at the level where he's at. He can say, come on, let me help you. And by doing that, it's just like you're just adding to the fabric of the awesome music that's out in the universe. Like, I love that for him. I absolutely
well,
love that.
and
Sorry, go ahead.
And one thing I absolutely love about that mentality is if you just look at one case where the way he mentored and brought up El Capitan, look at the brilliant music that has been produced and that we get to enjoy and listen to, the absolute fucking brilliance that has come out of his mentoring El Capitan.
Because he was going to quit music. He was going to quit. He was done.
He was just going to be done. If you look at El Capitan's discography of things he has fucking produced since Min Yoongi took him under his wing, there's so much fucking brilliant music out there that would have been lost. It's an astounding discography that this man has, all because somebody went, no, you're not allowed to quit music because you're very good at it. And let me show you some tricks. Let me bring you in. Let me build you up. Let me give you wings to do what I know you're capable of. And
a visionary who realizes there's more than one way to do it.
Exactly.
Right? Because El Capitan was looking at it so much from the singing side of it, which is we all do that, right? When we go through shit, we kind of see it through our very narrow perspective. Yeah. And Yoongi was able to go, okay, you might not be able to sing, but that doesn't mean you can't be involved in music. And like the way that he took him, like you're saying, Doc, and helped him find a different way to take the same passion,
apply it elsewhere,
and apply it, and be maybe more successful than he ever would have been.
Yeah, because he was in an idol group.
Yeah.
And not to say that they wouldn't have, I mean, I don't, but here's the thing, is like, I know he was in an idol group. Can I remember the name of his idol group off the top of my head? No, I have to look it up. So they obviously didn't do a whole lot. But he maybe, if he had kept singing, he could have gone somewhere, who knows? But I think that probably the universe worked that one out the way that it was supposed to work, and that he was supposed to be more of a songwriter and a producer. Because he helped produce all of D2 and D-Day, and he has written and produced for so many other artists, a lot of them under Hybe as well. And not to mention, he's working on his own stuff, and he is now working on pulling up other artists and promoting them and helping them get started. So it's like a cycle. And this is what Yoongi was looking for. Like back in the day, he was saying to all of us many times, he was like, there's nobody that we can ask how to do this, because nobody has done what we have done before. And like they had people in Korea that they could go to. They could go to Psy, they could talk to like their Sunbae Nims and be like, okay, like how did you get your first music show win or whatever. But as far as like, once they got to the point that they were selling out stadiums in America, they were going on award shows and winning all these award shows in the West. Like there was nobody to really ask about that because nobody had done it before. Yeah. And so he was very conscious of the fact that he wanted to turn around and help give other people that same kind of opportunity.
What was it, the story about, and I don't know which part of the career ladder it was, but where they said that he literally, like after the moment, he cried in the shower because he feared what was coming. He said that it was like after one of their big wins, and I think that he realized what was coming, sort of. And they were sort of, it's like, this is untouched territory here.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
And I don't know, but I think it was a win. I don't think it was Butter. Maybe it was Butter, Dynamite, or what have you. But
it might have been when they won their first Artist of the Year
maybe
at AMAs. That might be. Yeah. I can't remember.
It was around that era. It was around
Riven says it was after they performed DNA at the AMAs.
On the AMAs.
That's what Riven
said. Well, that makes sense. I mean, that's terrifying. But before we get too far in advance, I also want to bring up too about the whole David versus Goliath thing. And I think I don't know what would be worse, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but I don't know what would be worse: the outside attack that was coming his way, or the lack of support from his own family. I mean, the people that you would want and feel like you need them there supporting you and believing in you, and them being so, you know what I mean? So it felt like he didn't even have that sort of in the beginning. Obviously they've come around, and I know it was out of the, you know, concern for their, you know, they did it for all the right reasons. All parents do. We try to, you know, protect our children. But I had that picture of him, you know, kneeling on the ground and Jimin comforting him in that concert. And I have it hanging in my office because it's such a powerful picture of the power of parents, the power of friendship, the power of not giving up, the power of community, the power, you know, all of that stuff. And I think in that, I just can't even imagine in that moment, he had been getting the accolades of all these people, and then to see his family finally.
Yeah. And I think in their culture, the respect of your elders is like the most important thing. Like bringing, like earning the respect of your parents and your elder relatives, and that is a huge deal. Like we know that. We don't know the whole ins and outs of it because we're obviously not Korean and we don't live there, and we didn't grow up in the culture, but we do know a little bit about it because obviously, hello, so I think that even though I would say the family was probably the more important thing anyway, I think it would still hit different to us as Westerners than it does them, because it's even more, you know, because his parents were basically like, if you try to do this, you're going to be a poor person and you're just going to bring destitution upon our family. And so it was that very specific thing of like, I'm not going to be able to succeed. I have to prove them wrong, or prove them. I have to prove them wrong. And when they came around, and I think even, I don't know, for some reason in my head, I don't know that it took them a very long time, because I remember him saying that even in the early days, when he started going to therapy, that his parents came and went to therapy with him when he was going through a very difficult time, when he's talking about his mental health struggles, and, you know, thoughts he had. And they went to therapy with him. And I was like, and I remember thinking to myself that, like, even if they didn't think that he was, if they were still at that point where they weren't supporting him as far as his career choice was going, the fact that they did that still speaks volumes.
Right. Well, that kind of leads to the next topic that I wanted to kind of bring up, which is how he used his music as therapy. Obviously, he did the work in the counseling room and in true therapy that way too. But as we know, especially you, Quince, and, you know, as a writer, and me as a writer, and we all have our outlets, and Christina with art, and, you know, all of that thing, you know, those things then in and of themselves, we can use them as therapy because it helps us get into our own mind and kind of process things and kind of wrestle with ourselves and all that. But so how do we feel like he used music as therapy to get him through those really dark places? And where does that show up? How does that show up in his work?
Everywhere. His music was like a red thread. Starting from the beginning with Agust D. If you look at Give It to Me, and he's talking about, you know, I want these things. This is, I want all these big things. Like, just give it to me now. And he's like, I'm going to prove you wrong. And he's literally talking to his parents in that song. He's talking to them. You know, he's like, for everybody who said that I was going to bring shame and you know, and so it's that he works through, in the beginning, it's him working through his anger. It's those early, like, Agust D is working through a lot. That's a lot of anger on that record.
A lot of anger.
A lot of anger. And Agust D, the song, is like to his haters, and then Give It to Me is like more personal, like towards his parents and the people like in his life and things like that. So, but, and then if you follow the red thread to D2, and you know, you get to songs like Tony Montana and things like, where he's talking about, like, I still want the things, but I hope that it doesn't consume me. I don't want it and to consume me. And he talks about that in BTS solos too, Interlude Shadow. And that's when it starts. You see him start to evolve because he still has goals, he still has wants, he still has things to prove, but now he's conscious of the fact that it could change him, and he doesn't want it to change him because he doesn't think he would like that person. And then you get to D-Day, and it's literally just a therapy session.
Right.
The whole album is him walking towards that door. And so it that thread takes you all the way through of him working through, of just basically working his way from anger all the way to acceptance.
Don't you think Quince?
Yes, Christina?
Hold on just a second. Don't you kind of think too, like, that once you make the choice as an artist to be authentic, then whatever struggles you're going through, it's not a choice to say, I'm going to use this as my therapy.
Right.
It's
Right.
just whatever you're feeling
Right.
and whatever you're feeling strongly about, if you want to be authentic, ends up coming out in your art form. That's it. You don't have a choice. Just thinking, if I was to think like him, I don't have a choice. And that's so like that raw honesty, because in that moment, you're making that choice of saying, okay, this is going to do two things. It's going to help me, and it's going to help the people that connect with my authentic feelings and my authentic thoughts through my music. And it is also going to create a level of haters that I have not seen yet, because they are going to hate me for me sharing my deepest, darkest, rawest emotional self. And that's going to sting, because when they say they don't like my music, they're really talking about my authentic self, because that's what's on those albums.
And he took that on alone. He did it separate from the music that he did with BTS. He created this other entity to do that.
Right.
And so he had to kind of shoulder it alone.
Right. But at the same time, the fact that he got to do that alongside of his brothers, and that his brothers were also very keen to do that same journey.
Yes.
BTS music is also very authentic and sharing of their deepest stuff. And so I think that was the support that he needed to be able to go ahead and do that. And that's so freaking brave, man.
Yeah.
That is so brave. And I think that's for those of us that love him and connect with him. I think about that a lot, about how freaking brave that is to put that all down.
Yeah.
To be dissected and repeated all over the world for ad infinitum, forever.
Because the outside hate from all of his like former peers that he was getting, it's like a twofold, like, because they were coming after him with all the thing, like just anything they could pick at, they would pick at, and he was putting it all out there for them, and like basically like giving them a smorgasbord of things that they could pick at. But really what they were doing is just showing, like, because the root of it is just completely jealousy,
right?
That's basically the root of it. That you can't actually argue that the man is not talented. You can't actually argue that the man is not rapping. And so everyone who was like, oh, you're selling out, that's not real rap. You just don't like it because he's chosen to also learn how to dance and, put on a little bit of makeup, but that's your own insecurities and your jealousy. But it doesn't mean that it hurts any less when people that you considered like peers and friends say that stuff about you. But he was still really brave, like you said, because he just continued to put it all out there.
Yeah.
Doc, what were you going to say?
Yeah, go ahead, Doc. Go
well,
ahead.
I think there's an absolute brilliance in the Agust D trilogy, in that if you really think about the catharticness of writing down emotions as they come, like there's a real true psychological healing power to writing down how you're feeling as you go through, and for an artist to turn that into art was an absolute brilliant mechanism. But he gave himself that added protection of creating the alter ego. This was Agust D. This was separated from BTS work. This was separated from Suga as a producer, as an artist. This was separated from Min Yoongi as a person. This was the Agust D persona. And the fact that he utilized that Agust D persona to go through his healing journey. He went through the anger, he went through the denial, he went through the acceptance, he went through all of those gamuts of emotions as he went from this very tiny ball of anger and just to, I feel like I've resolved myself. I've come to a place of acceptance. I've come to a place of peace with myself. And now that I feel like I have melded to a place of peace, all of that, now I can lay to rest this alter ego, Agust D, and I can move forward as Suga, as Min Yoongi, as my authentic self, at peace with myself. And the brilliance of that for a healing journey, for a mental health journey, for just emotional maturity, like that process of utilizing an alter ego to present all of that as you go through, and now being like, okay, I've come to the conclusion of this trilogy, and now I probably won't produce anymore under that Agust moniker. I'm not saying I never will, but I probably won't, is really, you know, where he came to. And I think that was absolutely, utterly brilliant.
Yeah.
To do
and
it.
the scar was gone at the end.
Yeah.
And the scar was gone at the end. And he shut that fucking door when he walked off the stage.
Yeah.
At the
Well,
end
I think you kind of already hit on my next
series.
point, which was the personal growth that we kind of saw through all three albums. And to somebody's point in the comments too, that really by the time you got to D-Day, it's like the day has come, you know, I'm going to shut that door. I've dealt with my shit. Here I am at this much more peaceful place. It was really a gift for anybody who not only loves him or loves the group, but also has their own struggles, for someone to open up that shit to the world and share that entire process through years. I mean, that's tough shit to do. Like, most people keep that hidden, like, right? Like, we don't share that.
Most of us stuff it down deep in a box, and then we wrap duct tape around the box and chains, and then we throw the box into the water and we watch it sink and we laugh.
Right.
For real. Yeah.
But
we never open it. We never open that box right back up. Yeah.
No.
But you know what? You know what I love about that though? If you've ever seen 8 Mile, which is a basically Eminem biographic pick.
Yeah.
At the very end, the way he beats the final guy and what he raps about in his final rap battle is he basically says, I'm going to take everything about myself that I already know about myself, and I'm going to say it myself. And then when you go to come at me, what you got?
Nothing.
What do you got? Because I already know all that shit about myself. I've already accepted it. I've dealt with it and I've moved on. And so what do you got to say?
Right.
So it's funny that I agree with you, Steph. It's so vulnerable, but at the same time, it's such a hip hop move.
So badass.
To be like, go ahead, make fun of me. And to be honest, you know, not that we are compared to the great Min Yoongi, of course, but in our own project, when we get hate, we have decided to turn around and go, you know what? Yeah, great. We're going to own it. Yeah, we are old.
There is empowerment
what do you want?
in that type of vulnerability. There's empowerment in vulnerability.
Right. But also just in the fact that you can feel vulnerable, but at the same time you can feel proud of yourself.
Yes, exactly. That you know? It's an empowering feeling to get to that point of vulnerability and to allow it to be seen.
Yep. And just like I have you guys when I'm feeling bad about myself and I'm reading, you know, hate tweets about, you know, how awful I look online. It's like, I've got you guys to be like, fuck them. Yeah. And I'm like, and after a while, I'm like, fuck them, you know?
Yeah. We don't have time to care. You know, this mortal coil is just it is but a blip.
Right.
Yeah. It really is. And
we just got to make the most of it.
Right. And just like Yoongi, though, to your point, Doc, you know, there's a time and place for an Agust D. And I trust that he knows when that time is. if it ever comes again and he's needed,
Mhm.
he'll
And-
dust him off and he'll put him back on. So it's like,
Mhm.
I trust that he knows when or if that is necessary.
Right.
And who
Well,
knows?
and when they say, you know, BTS paved the way or whatever, I think one of the things to the next point that I wanted to bring up was, in a way, he really does pave the way of empowering other people and showing other people, hey, I mean, dealing with your shit hurts. Like, it's not easy. It can be a really long process, but the other side makes it worth it.
Yeah.
Right. And the testament to what it can do in someone's life, then, like you said, Quint, it's a ripple effect then, right? If he deals with his shit and then he turns around and he helps somebody else deal with theirs, then they turn around and they empower others. And then it's just, that's how you heal the world. That's how you improve the world.
Yes.
It's not by keeping everything dark.
Right.
And I think that so many of us, like when we were watching that D-Day concert streaming in Seoul and he was breaking down in tears singing those songs, like, it was devastating, but it was also one of the most beautiful, powerful moments I think we've ever watched, which is why we were all bawling our eyes out, because we knew what he had gone through. We knew how transparent and authentic and how beautiful all that process was and the way he shared it with us. So when we got to see that almost like healing moment, or that, you know, that slaying the dragons moment, and finally freaking open that door and fucking cry and walk through that door victorious.
Yeah.
Like, that was healing for all of us.
Yeah. And it
All of
also,
us.
it's like, if
Right.
if Yoongi can do it, I can do it too, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's going to look different for
Well,
everybody, but anybody can walk through that door.
Yeah.
That
And I
door-
think that's
that
one,
door
like,
is life changing for me. You know.
yeah.
I'm sorry, Doc. Go ahead.
I think the Agust D trilogy for me, the impact that man has had on the world, because he was willing to be vulnerable through his journey. Everybody can find themselves somewhere on Min Yoongi's journey where they're struggling with things in life. And so there's always going to be a song, because he took us on the journey from the beginning to the point of acceptance, because he allowed us into that window. He allowed us to see that. He opened himself up to the potential backlash and the negative commentary and the whatever. Because he did that, there is a song for every human on whatever portion of that journey they are on. You can always find a place in his discography that you can relate to, and that you can find, you know, connection to. And then there's always hope, because if he, like you said, if he can walk through that door, then I can walk through that door. If he can lay down Agust D, then I can lay down whatever the fuck is happening in my life. And so it creates this almost, you know, like we often say, you know, BTS paved the way, but like Min Yoongi paved the mental health way. If you follow his journey and his music, you can actually, you know, find yourself at that door as well, because he always gives you kind of a rough path to follow to find your way through that door at the end.
And that, it was necessary. Let's be real. Let's be really fucking for real about this, because we have seen other people in the Korean entertainment industry, not just idols. We have seen other people fighting very similar battles. Different things, but fighting similar battles and not winning that battle.
Right.
And choosing a different way, and because they felt like they had no other choice. And so, and I'm not coming down on any of them or saying, you know, that Yoongi is better because he didn't do that. But what I am saying is that he found his choice.
Right.
He could have said at one point, I don't have a choice, but he found a choice and he made it. And showing, and I think that probably part of the reason why he was so transparent was because he knew that there were so many other people out there. It's hard. It's hard that, like, not just the K-pop industry, that's harsh enough. But like the culture there, with the obsession with beauty and
perfection
and money, it's difficult. It is stringent, and it must be hard. It must be hard sometimes to live under that kind of pressure. And and mental health, even here in the United States, mental health it's a lot better than it used to be, but it's still not something that people readily want to talk about. But so I imagine even less so in cultures where it's more like you keep yourself reserved, you are, like that kind of a thing. So it's even more amazing that he did it when you consider those factors of what goes on in Korean culture.
Right.
Yeah. And I love too, just as a little side, I love that each of his brothers got to see him perform part of that and got to see the impact that that music and that experience had on people. And they got to see it as members of the audience. So I love that. I just love that they got to see him help people literally, like right there in real time. I think that's just so cool.
There's that moment, and I think it's the correct sync. It might not be correct, so you guys are the research and but there was supposedly a moment where they had camera on Jin, when the three guys, when Yoongi started breaking down, and you kind of see it. I felt like when I was watching it, Jin at first is like, you could just see that big brother in him is like he's like panicked almost a little bit, like what's going on? What do we do here? But I think you're exactly right. For them to be able to watch them, and I feel bad because I think so many of Army miss it because they so focus on the cute part, which I get it, of, oh, he didn't want to dance and he got forced to dance, and oh, he's the one that's tired all the time, and oh, he's forget the fact that he was in pain constantly because of the shoulder. They don't. I think he loses a lot of the importance of his journey when we just focus on the fun little stories. You miss the power of what he's walked through to help them get where they are today. And I think all of them would say, and I know that JK and B both on Such What Y'all said, you're the one I most admire right now. You're the one that I most look up to right now. And I think it's probably because of that moment, Christina. I think it is. I think it's watching him do that empowered them. It only makes you love someone more when you see how, when they open themselves up like that. It makes you see parts of them that you never thought you might see, and it makes you love them more. But the gift that he gave his teammates by being willing to break down for the world, and making that okay, I think is really undervalued by a lot of people.
I agree. I think that I remember even like an interview that Taehyung had. He was talking about how they all make him a better person because he sees them, his brothers, work, like what they do, like how they are not just working hard, but also like the dedication they have to themselves and to their fans and growth and change. And he was like, it makes me get up and want to do those same things. And so it's the same thing. They've all said it about each other in various ways at various times about how much they influence each other and how they, even if they don't feel like doing something at that moment, they get up and they do it anyway because they know the others are. And so I think that, I do. I think that watching Yoongi through the years apply himself the way that he has had a big impact.
Doc, can I ask you a medical question in terms of, this isn't on the notes that I gave you guys previously, so I'm throwing you a curveball, but I would love your medical kind of, your thoughts on, we have this person who has injured himself, right? He has obviously the fear of, he doesn't want people to know because he doesn't want to get kicked out of the group. He's trying to do what everybody else is doing. He's in pain. How does that kind of constant physical pain, while you're also mentally going through such thing, how does that affect a person? And does and I kind of know the answer, but I still want your perspective. It's got to compound all of it. Like, right. Like if I even have a headache, forget it. I don't want to do anything. Right. And here he was still out there dancing, still out there practicing, still out there doing all this, still doing these things while all this was going on. And again, he kept that in the dark longer than he ever did the mental health stuff. So what kind of weight does that carry psychologically, the physical of that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody deals with chronic pain differently. But I will say, like, chronic pain over exaggerates everything else going on in life. It makes everything
Harder.
way bigger and way more intense than it needs to be, because it's very, very hard for the brain to compartmentalize off that chronic pain. It's why so many people who have like widespread chronic pain end up with like fibromyalgia, where the brain has to figure out a way to deal with this constant input, this constant influx. And so it like creates these trigger points and these these flare points. When you're facing that chronic influx of never ending pain, your body gets so worn out, your brain gets so worn out trying to deal with and compartmentalize that pain, that it is very, very hard to focus on and deal with emotional or mental struggles, because everything feels so overwhelming. Everything feels so much bigger than it should be. And you see a lot of people who end up in really deep depression, really severe anxiety, really severe mental health issues, because their brain can't deal with both at the same time. And so it's a massive testament to his mental fortitude that he was actually able to process and walk through all of this while dealing with this pretty severe, never-ending pain. And like the ability to focus, the ability to concentrate is diminished. The ability to just deal with, there's a reason why the man is constantly saying that he just wants to be a rock and sleep, because sleep is oftentimes the only escape from pain that a lot of people have. And so, and they talked about the fact that they were giving him steroid injections before every concert, like they were injecting his shoulder before every concert and before performances. And the amount of just attempts at pain control. I mean, we've seen him with the cupping marks. We've seen him with the K-tape. The amount of attempts that they took to try to diminish or control that pain in the shoulder so that he could perform was pretty astounding. Just even the fact that they reached a point where they were like, we just need to do surgery.
Yeah.
Even though it means taking you out of all this other stuff, it just reached a point where it was like, we just have to do surgery on this. And I think it says a lot. You can see the difference in his journey in music after the surgery on that shoulder. Like a lot of the hopelessness, a lot of the like overwhelming, a lot of the like anger drastically decreased after his surgery, in the way he wrote his music and in the way he did that.
He started working on D-Day while he was
recovering.
During that time, like a little bit before, but a lot during that time when he was recovering. When he really started working on D-Day. And so,
right, and you can see songs like Amygdala he wrote before the surgery, and so you can really see the difference in the intensity of the emotions and in the way he was dealing with all that when he was going through that chronic pain, because it really does just make everything overwhelming. And he's talked publicly having ADHD, and it triggers that to a much higher degree as well when overprocessing pain. So it just makes everything process.
Exacerbates. It's not just a testament to his mental fortitude, which it is, but also he had a very good support network around him. I mean, he had like 6 people that were going through it with him. they may not have known all the details, but they motivated him. And, you know, they had, you know, people in the company. So he had very tangible reasons to keep going aside from his own determination. And so that is a reminder to all of us that when you're going through something like that, it can be really easy. And I'm guilty of this myself. It can be really easy to want to close yourself off from the world and just be like, I'm just going to deal with my shit like on my own. Nobody needs to deal with my pain. Nobody needs to deal with what I'm going through. And it can be very tempting to do that. But when you do that, that's when you start to get into the territory where your depression can go out of whack, because then, you know, it just becomes easier to be alone and to not think about it and to not deal with it. And so you don't want to get to that point. So making sure that you, when you're going through stuff like that, letting your support network help you and lift you up is an important thing.
And by the way, speaking of support, I know this is a really heavy topic that we're talking about right now. Yes. And so when we replay this, we'll put some trigger warnings and talk about what we're, you know, kind of the subject. But we hope that anybody who's listening right now, if you need support, like, I hope that you reach out and get it. And I hope that you know, just I mean, and I know that we all do. We care so much about our community. And so if there's ever anything in the you know, that you can shoot us a message or in the Discord channel, and we've had people reach out to us before and just say, hey, you know, I don't know what to do with X, you know, is there any help available? And so yeah, so I just wanted to point that out. I know this is a heavy topic.
Yeah. And if you have to nope out, if it's too much, if you have to nope out, we understand.
Protect yourself, friends. Like, absolutely.
But again, at least we're having this conversation on the other side now, right? We're
or in the middle of it, or in the middle of it. Who knows?
Yeah. Right. Well, because of what he's shown and what he's overcome, we can at least looking back on it than we may not be completely, but from what we can, from our vantage point, from what he's shared so far.
Oh yeah, him. Yes.
We're looking back on it and seeing him overcome versus, you know, because I'm like you, Quinn. I'm a detacher. Yeah. When I go through stuff, you may not hear from me I do not reach out to anyone. I don't talk to anyone. I don't share my issues with anybody. I'm very much in my own world. But I really learned from him, you know, one of the things I love about what we've created here is a community. And I think to your point, Quince, what he had around him was a community of people that gave a shit and that were going to be with him through that process, which makes it safer for you to not be on all the time, to be honest with yourself, to deal with stuff. And I think it also, like, every time I see them, you know, perform or whatever, you know, when he couldn't be there, but they still held that place open for him. Imagine what that felt for him to know that they had, not only do they have his back, but they know there's no replacement for him. There's nothing to take Yoongi's spot. Not even one of them.
Right.
As much as some random ass netizens would like to say that.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah. And I think after last year, it will be interesting to see the process that comes after this, if he lets us see it, because which I feel like he will. He may need we don't know exactly like where he is on his processing journey right now, but usually I think he knows that we all benefit from him showing it to us.
He's also sorry, go ahead.
That's okay.
I was just going to say, he's also smart enough to know that this particular incident that just went through was not just him going through that. The entire fandom that loves him and supports him was also in the shit with him. And so he's a very smart man.
Oh yeah.
So he knows that this was a different kind of pain this time around.
Very different this time. So that's why I feel like it lends more towards like, we'll see the process of some ciphers rather than like, I need to walk through another door.
Right.
But
imagine where he would have been through this process if he hadn't done the work previously to deal with the other stuff. Like, right? I wonder,
Right,
imagine
right.
had he not got to walk through that door and this happened.
Right.
Yeah.
How
Right.
would the circumstances
Well,
be different?
right. And that's, yeah. One of the things I love about Min Yoongi's journey, and kind of on the topic of, the trigger warnings, in that this is really deep subject material, is one thing that Yoongi has taught us from the beginning, from very early on in his career, is the importance of therapy, the importance of having an actual mental health professional help you through, the journey you're walking on. Our brains are very good at lying to us. They're very good at telling us things that aren't true and exacerbating things that we're going through and emotions we're feeling. And one of the things I very much appreciate about Min Yoongi is from very early on, he has destigmatized utilization of mental health professionals. Because if you are struggling, if you are, dealing with some of the emotions, if you are resonating with his music, I mean, he's talked about having therapists. He's talked about having group therapy with his family, with his parents.
Yes.
He's been very open about utilizing professional therapists, and I think it's a valuable lesson he is showing us, is that there is no shame to having a good therapist and proper medication. There's no shame to that. One of the things I tell a lot of my patients is, you would take medication for your blood pressure and for your blood sugar and for, all your cholesterol. You have no problem taking the pills for that, but heaven fucking forbid you take
But you
pills
need
for mental
pills
health.
for your brain.
Yeah.
There's no difference. There's no difference in taking the pills for your brain versus your blood pressure or your cholesterol or whatever else. And so finding yourself a good therapist, getting them to help you along the journey, just treating it like any other disease process, I think is excessively valuable. And I think that Min Yoongi really showed us the importance and the value in that. And I very, very much appreciate him for that. From a professional standpoint, I very
think
much
there's
appreciate him destigmatizing that.
There's a quote on the internet that says, if your brain can't make its own happy chemicals, store-bought is fine.
Store-bought is fine. Yeah.
Store-bought happy brain chemicals are fine.
Semi-homemade happy chemicals.
or freaking watching stuff like In the Soup, and that kind of stuff is it is my therapy. Like if I'm in a dark place, I'm going to turn on something that makes me happy and brings me joy. And
yes.
By the way, I think we should mention, this is 529 opinion only. This is not medical. We do not represent medical advice. And even though Doc is an actual doctor with a medical degree,
I'm not your doctor.
She is not offering medical advice for anyone.
Yeah.
We're talking about this strictly in our opinions, a generalized sense, and our opinions about Min Yoongi's journey in particular through mental health, because you can't talk about his music without talking about his journey through mental health. It's
except for therapy. Everybody needs therapy.
Yeah, well,
everybody
can benefit.
Yeah, you can't have a deep dive discussion about his music and his personality without mentioning these things, these topics. And I know that they can seem really, really heavy and really intense sometimes. But if you watch his music videos and listen to his music, it can feel intense sometimes. I remember watching the Amygdala video the first time and going, I don't know when's the next time I'm going to be able to watch this.
No, it was like, well, I'm going to put that away. We're going to put that away.
Music video
kind of like Festa. You're like
trigger warning. You have to. It comes with a trigger warning. You have to click accept to watch that music video, and that says everything you need to know about it.
Yeah, and to your point too, Christina, like I think for him, he would consider that a badge of honor, and he'd be honored to know that with that kind of connection is made with people, that through his music you also get that mental health part of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like that he'd be proud of that. He'd be proud that from what his words. Well, let's move on to our next topic, which is the empowerment of that, right? The natural empowerment that comes from sharing yourself. You're empowering others.
Sure. And I think it goes back again to my point earlier of, you know, that once you start doing that and you start living authentically, you know that that's going to diverge what happens to you, because you're going to find your true friends. You're going to find your true calling. You're going to find the people that really, truly connect with you, right? And are going to become your ride or die buddies. And you're also going to find your worst haters, because they know everything about you because you're volunteering that information.
Right.
And so if they're going to hurt you, they know exactly how to hurt you. So yeah, that's the divergence of it.
What's truly empowering is knowing that when you get to that point, you're not ever going to solve everything. Like there's no like, yes, you can walk through that door and you can close it behind you, but that doesn't mean that there's never going to be anything else that plagues you. And the really, truly empowering moment is when you realize you've reached the point that you have the tools to deal with that. Now, it's not to say that you won't ever have a backslide, or you're going to have like tough times where you can't immediately just see your way through something. That's life. That's being human, and that's okay, you know? But when you get to that point where you're like, okay, I know that I have the tools, I can see what's happening right now, and I've gone through my journey and I've learned how to best deal with this for me, to process it and get through it and be able to move on with my life. That is the real moment of empowerment, because you're never going to fix everything. Life is going to happen no matter what. And, you know, bad shit's going to happen no matter what. But being able to deal with it and to grow and move past it, that's the real empowerment, which is what he did with D-Day.
And I think that thinking of last year and the situation they went through last year, I think I know for me, so it's got to be, I'm not alone in this, part of the rage that I felt for the backlash that he got for that was almost the joy that some people took sticking that finger right in the wound that he had, you know what I mean? Like being so willing to just go right back to that same wound and try to reopen it or use it as as a weapon against him, because it was so visible, right, to the world. I mean, here he made it very visible, right, through the music videos and through that. And it just felt like you are the lowest of the low when you figure out someone's weak point, and that's what you go after. And so I think that's why I was like, how dare?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh.
Yeah. It was a level of attack that, you know, we know, we all grew up as Army, you know, you hear the stories about how they were attacked as a group and the difficulties they faced when they were debuting and coming up through that, and how they didn't have any money, and you hear that and everything. But the Yoongi thing was so fucking personal. And for any of us that have had any kind of struggle like that, where we've gone through, you know, mentally something or what have you, and then to see him get attacked like that you're right, Seth, that was a whole nother level of, like, it got me. I'm not gonna lie, it got me. And I was on Twitter fighting that stuff, reporting that stuff, but every time I had to see those fucking pictures or read somebody's awful tweet in order to report it, like after a while, after a couple weeks, I was like, this is really rough. And like, it wasn't even me who was going through, it's him that was going through it. But it just, like, by extension, I really felt,
you know what, and now that you're saying that out loud, I'm sitting here processing that, and I'm like, you know what, that was the line that I would have loved to have gone after the people that, not gone after, but to speak to the people that were, you know, they could definitely consider themselves Army and Yoongi supporters, but they were sharing those articles and sharing those photos. Because part of me would want to say, if you truly understood his story, you would not be sharing this right now. Yeah. Like, if you understood, which to me, again, to kind of say, you're allowed to be a fan of whatever you want to be at, right? You don't have to know all the shit. You don't have to know all that. But if you did, the last thing you would do is post a photo in his lowest moment and be like, look how cute he looked. You know what I mean? It's just like, you have no idea. I mean, I think even that, because it just felt like even the people that love him. Yeah.
Well,
it could still hurt to have, like, Like when somebody, love can still hurt sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again, it was the people that love him that were hurting him to some extent.
People can have misguided intentions or be misinformed about things.
Mm-hmm.
But the personal thing that Christina, you mentioned, I wanted to piggyback off of that for a second, because even though, so it was a whole level of vitriol that we had never experienced before as Army. A lot of us are newer Army, and we weren't around in like 2015, 2016, 2017. But it's the same kind. It's still jealousy. It's still rooted in jealousy. I think the reason why it was so personal this time and it got so vicious was because they've reached a different point in their career. Mm-hmm. And they went many years with being built up so high that it was almost like nobody can touch them. And so the smallest scrap of whatever comes out, and it was like jackals. Yeah. It was like jackals jumping on a carcass, like basically like, oh my God, finally something that we can tear apart in the media. And I think that's literally what it was, is because it was like, okay, well, they're not perfect. And it's like, well, no, nobody said they were perfect, asshole.
And I bet you that Yoongi would say, they didn't say they were perfect. But I bet Yoongi would say he was glad it was him instead of one of the others.
Of course.
Of course. Oh, he probably would. He probably would.
Right. But that was hard though for true Army.
Yeah.
That was hard for all of us. And even if you weren't on social media during that time, you still knew what was going on. I mean, you were still, that's how big it was. That's how much people were talking about it. So
it's being blown so out of proportion on social media and on a lot of the news outlets. It was being so utterly blown out of proportion that it reached a point where even like the late night talk show hosts were making fun of the situation, because they were like, how the fuck is this a thing? Like,
because in the Western world, that's not a thing.
How is this possibly a fucking thing? Like, you literally can't go out inside of any city anywhere in the US without seeing grandma doing this. So like, how is this a thing? And that led such a perspective too of like, it legitimately was this element of almost like BTS is so untouchable. And Yoongi himself even said when he did his Haega music video, I did these things in the Haega music video because in my my entire career, I've never had a single scandal once ever. I've never even come close to a scandal in the entirety of my career. I have been above board in everything I've ever done in my career. And this was the one incident where it maybe might possibly be a weakness. And it was almost like this like pile on, because it was the first time it had ever been an option to pile on over something that could be considered remotely controversial. And I feel like it really showed human nature in many cases where, like you were saying before, where jealousy is concerned, where inferiority complexes are concerned, where it's almost this like, if I can take down this perfect human, then I'm a better human, or I feel like I'm a better human. You know, it's that concept of a perfect human, because even Min Yoongi himself will say he's not perfect. Nobody is. But it's like this concept that this person who's never had a scandal in his whole career, if I can take him down, if I can tear him down, then somehow I feel better about myself. But it's a false sense of superiority. And it's an unhealthy sense of superiority, because it's a very short-lived sense, and you're going to move past that, and you're still going to be in the place that you were in that made you feel the need to attack and build yourself up in that way, and you're still going to be down in the dregs. And so it's a much better model to live by Min Yoongi's model, where you get the therapy and you build yourself up to where you find that journey of empowerment, because once you've achieved that journey of empowerment, then you know how to achieve it again. It's like a lot of these people who make a lot of money. They're like, that first million is the hardest to earn. After that, you know how to make $1 million. And so after that, it's easier to make more and more and more and more. Right. And it's that same concept on that journey to self-acceptance and mental health and finding peace with yourself. Is that first journey is the hardest one to make. And once you find yourself in that place of healthy acceptance of yourself, when the road bumps come and when the speed bumps come and when you find yourself knocked back, you know the journey, you know how to get there again. And so it's a little easier to find yourself in that healthy place.
Well, and I think it's important, Doc, that's a perfect thing to what I was going to say too, is that if we talked about the negatives, right, of that, but let's real quick remember that there were some positives that came out of that. And that is, I feel like Army as a fandom went, okay, this is something new. How do we protect our Yoongi and our BTS and our fandom? And how do I, as an Army, do what's right for me and what's best for me? And how do we move forward out of this, like in the best way possible? And so I feel like being on the front lines of reporting and doing all that stuff, that it was really a moment for a lot of Army to go, you know what? Like, I want to get on and rage and get upset, but that's not going to help Yoongi, and that's not going to help Army as a fandom. And there's a lot of people looking at us right now because they know that this is a hot topic. And so how do we get through this with as much grace as possible for him and for each other? And so I felt like there was a lot of really good stuff that came out of that.
Yeah.
And as a fandom, we were like, okay, like, let's use the boys as an example. What happens when they get attacked? Do they fall apart?
Yeah.
Do they get angry and like spew hatred all over the place? No.
Right.
Like, and so if we call ourselves fans of these men, then we need to be the example for them. And when they're not here, and that was especially hard, I'm sure, because they weren't together.
Yeah.
So they weren't able to navigate this together. Like, now what can we do as a fandom? We have all this power. We have millions of people all over the world. What can we do with that power? And we did some pretty awesome shit.
Yeah. And our project raised $20,000.
We did some pretty cool shit.
Yeah.
And so I also think, to your point, Steph, like you said earlier, Min Yoongi would be proud to know that. And I feel like my hope for him that through all of that, he at least was able to see that the true Army, we were fighting for him in a way that was the right way to fight for him.
I for sure sent him a fan letter with the evidence of our $20,000 to UNICEF. This is what we did.
Yeah.
To give you something positive to look at.
Yeah.
We did it for you.
Yeah.
And
we provided a space in our Discord where we were like, listen, don't go out on social media and spew hate with your anger. Come in here, rant to us, rant with your friends. You're in a safe space. Yell all you want about this situation so that you don't, like, check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Right.
Okay.
Don't go on Kim Jong-un's internet.
Right.
Don't go on the internet and talk about
his best friend.
Exactly. Like, be like, do your best to, like, find that Zen place, because the only way we're going to get through this is if we're supporting each other and we don't lose our minds and we keep our shit together.
That brings it back to that whole notion of, instead of tearing down, lift people up.
Yeah.
And that is what we should be doing all the time. And I think that we do this. I think we do follow the example that Yoongi and all of BTS has set, because, and I'm not saying that we've never learned it anywhere else in our lives either, but in our project, we are very cognizant of how we talk about certain things and certain people. We joke around a lot and we say, blah, blah, blah. We shoot the shit and we fuck around, but we are very, very careful we want to be real with you guys, but we never want to be needlessly negative. We never want to be like, you're never going to see us tear people down because there's no worth in that. even if
Right.
there are people out there that we don't like, and there are.
Sorry,
And
mine was an evil
there are
laugh.
people out there who don't like us, and that's fine, you
That's
know.
fine.
But what we're never going to do is you're never going to hear us tear anyone down, or talk about, like, because there's just no worth in it. And it doesn't, not only does it not help that person, but it more importantly, it doesn't help us. It doesn't help our community, because like Doc mentioned earlier, that feeling of like, ha ha ha, I put them down, I feel so much better about myself, it's super short-lived, I promise you.
Which is why they had to jump onto attacking the other guy so fast, because they were like, they needed a new hit.
It's super short-lived. Like, that is very, very quick dopamine right there. And then you go right back to hating yourself. Because that's what it is. It's like they tear down because they feel something lacking in themselves. And so they want to make somebody else feel that lack as well. And we try really hard to never do that. And that's why we always tell you guys to try to focus on, be realistic, but try to focus on finding something positive to put your attention towards. You can talk about the negative, you can be unhappy, you can share your feelings, because all of that is valid, but don't foster the anger. Don't build the anger up, like, just turn away from it.
Right.
Go ahead.
I think that concept that it leads to that journey of empowerment, because if you even look at this situation, when Army started off angry and attacking because he was being attacked, all it did was skyrocket the view counts on all these news stations, and it popped everything up. We kept getting more and more fucking wreaths, articles, and articles and bullshit just piled and piled and piled. And when Army decided to take the stance of blackout, the stance of positive, bro, we got entire news stations taken down, like kicked the fuck off of Twitter, like YouTube channels got kicked off, Twitter channels got kicked off, like banned from those platforms because of the misinformation and the hate that they were spreading. And if you look even towards the end, look at what Army did when, instead of getting angry and riled up over the wreaths, they said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to pay for 5 vans so nobody can see the wreaths. Yeah. Nobody can see them, when they literally blocked the view. They blocked it so people driving by had no idea those were there. And then they stood in front of them in a neat, orderly line in peace and singing happy songs with signs of support facing the building. And what you notice is, when that was their response, nobody wants to pay $100,000 for wreaths that don't get seen.
I mean, you wouldn't think, right?
You wouldn't think so.
Nobody wants to pay $100,000 for wreaths that are being blocked by trucks on one side and a human wall on the other side, and nobody's fucking looking at them.
Human wall wearing purple.
It was just a wall of purple and vans saying "We love Min Yoongi" and OT7. And like, the brilliance of that response had so much more power than the negative anger yelling, "How dare you? How dare!"
I was proud of us. I was proud of us.
I mean,
the people that organized that, kudos, man. Kudos.
They deserve their own Mount Rushmore.
It was so brilliant. That level of empowerment that the Army took in that situation was utterly brilliant. And look at what impact that had. UNICEF got $20,000. The wreaths got blocked. The power of the
people got free food.
Positive approach was so much stronger than the negative approach. And it really taught Army the way in which we should focus our attention in future situations that may come.
Yes, I agree.
Empowerment of the positive approach.
Yeah, I agree with you so much, because I learned to my very core as an Army that our attention is our most powerful weapon we have.
Clicks.
Always. clicks and views and likes. And when there's 40 plus million of us, that can do some really, really cool stuff on Kim Namjoon's internet if we just focus up a little bit.
Well, and I think to wrap it up, because we didn't think we were going to last this long.
Woo, dang!
But to wrap it up, I'm probably going to sound very dramatic, and I don't mean to, but I have those moments. You know, we're very excited, obviously, for the return of all of them, and I think, you know, each return, especially with you got 4 of them coming out within 2 days, are going to be beautiful and exciting. But I think partly because he was so vulnerable and shared such a journey, and then the fight we had last year on June 21st, if that's when it happens, when that man comes out, I think for a lot of us, it will feel like we're walking through that door. It will feel like to see him happy and healthy and all is well. And I think it will probably be one of the most powerful moments in Armydom ever, because I think we need that. I think Yoongi is that person for Army, whether we realize it or not. And I think to see him whole and fine and happy and have overcome again will set them off on, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I cried when Jin got out. I cried even harder when Hobie got out. I know I'm going to be a sobbing fucking mess when the next one come out. But when Yoongi comes out, it's the end of the journey.
That's going to be us walking through the door.
It's Army walking through the door. Exactly. I am not going to be able to control, because I can't even not tear up thinking about when Yoongi comes out. When that man walks out those gates and the others are waiting for him, like, there will not be the ability to be dry-eyed. It won't be dry. Like, it's impossible to stay not a hot sobbing mess when the 7 are finally together again.
He's not actually on a base, but I want them to. I want them to build dates. I want them to build dates for him to walk through.
That's true. He's not on an actual base. But whatever it is that he gets out when he does his discharge paperwork, or if it's alive, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever we get with the 7 of them,
in some like middle management's office, and the dude's like there, like making him sign the paper, and they're all in there, and there are these cameras, and everyone's crying. This dude is just sitting at his desk, like.
Even if it's just in the moment and all we get is alive and his balloons are behind him and his brothers are around him, I'm gonna lose my shit. I'm just
That's because for those of us that stuck by and those of us that supported them throughout, you know, like that's the reward. That's reward enough. And isn't it awesome?
That is the reward. It's something we've been working on for, you know, well over 529 days by that point. It's the goal, it's the end point, it's the, you know, we came together as a community because we thought we were going to get relative silence, and we were going to have nothing to do, and we were going to need each other to support each other. But then, thanks, Weverse. We appreciate that one. But like the relative silence being an astronomical volume of shit that got dropped on us, it made it even more important in many ways to have this community, these people that we can scream with and laugh with and cry with and not feel out of place or not feel abnormal or not feel anything other than what we should be feeling. These guys, these men bring us.
Holding my breath for a long time. Sorry, I wanted to read that.
It's true. It really will feel like breathing after holding our breath for a long time. But like, you know, the whole point of this project was to bring people together while they were gone. And so when they come back and this project is still going strong, like the impact, I think, is going to be bigger than it would have been without this journey.
Yes, for sure. I think, and there's right. No chill will be had, and it's fine. And we're going to do it together because friends don't let friends bangtan alone.
Right.
And so we'll be a mess in Discord. And anybody who wants to hang out with us can. Which is a great segue.
I think that's a great segue, and I think that's a great way to end this discussion, because I do feel in my heart of hearts that as much as we talk about the struggles that Yoongi went through and the depressing things and all that, like, it is definitely a story of hope and positivity at the very end.
Exactly.
It's a story of triumph.
It is. It is. And now
it-
that you know how that story ends, at least for those 3 albums, go back and listen to those 3 albums again, stream the crap out of them, and hear it with new ears. Yeah.
Listen to them in a row. Start with Agust D, then listen to D2, and then listen to D-Day. If you got that time, do it. It's rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings us to the end of our discussion.
That brings us to talking about streaming, Christina.
Talking about streaming. I know. So thank you very much for those of you that were hanging out with us this whole time and letting us talk about Yoongi. We appreciate you and all the comments. And if you are going to be streaming, by the way, we do have a Discord channel for voting, streaming, and charting, where we take all the best bits from all the different social medias, including playlists. We share reminders for voting, all that good stuff. We have a channel in the Discord. So if you want to come hang out there, I also add those goals to a website, our website, not a random website, a page on our website. So
we have a website, guys. I don't know if you know this.
Some people don't know it. Some people seem real surprised when they find out that we have a website. We built this whole ass fucking website. This whole ass fucking project.
The rest of this is just surrounding our website. Was where it all started.
Yep. So come hang out in the voting, streaming, charting channel if that's your thing and you want to do more of that. So.
And if you want to hang out and have community while things are going on, then come and join our watch parties and our events that we're having in our Discord. Every week I host a weekly content watch party where we go over the blog. We have Run Chin watch parties every other week. We've got Ginny's Kitchen going on another night. We've got a lot of things going on. We even have different time zones. So if you're, let's say, over in Europe or closer to that part of the world, we have people who run watch parties throughout the week for those time zones as well. So whatever works best for you, you can sign up that you're to be interested in the events in the sidebar of our Discord. Next week at midnight tonight Eastern time, we will be dropping week 58, which is week 2 of Hosebuary. And it is called The Beat of Destiny. That is dropping midnight tonight. So make sure you check that out. If you go to our website, you can sign up for our newsletter, and that will let you know when our blog has dropped. And it will also give you all of our info, our pertinent info for that week. Stephanie puts the newsletter together every week. And she works hard on that. And so you can sign up for that, and then you'll always be aware. And there's a link right in there. You can click on the link and it'll take you right to the blog. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah. And all the other things there on our website as well. Feel free to check them out.
Here's what's interesting. None of us know how to shut this thing down.
Oh, it's all right.
Katie's here.
Oh, she's here. Okay.
She'll be able to.
The disembodied voice is here.
Katie sent us a little message inside of Google Meet saying she was here.
Okay, good.
I was alerted.
We're good. We will not fail at the shutting down of the live at the end of it here. Join us. So for those of you who don't know, those of you who are new to us, we go live every Sunday and every Wednesday. On Sunday, like today, is our deep dive into more deeper topics regarding Bangtan and what's going on in the blog usually. And on Wednesdays, we have our midweek tea, where we go through member news, what the members have been up to over the week, any kind of new information we have on them, as well as any shenanigans that have been happening on Kim Namjoon's internet during the week. That's our week tea segment, where we discuss the shenanigans and how and what's happening out there. And so join us. It's every Wednesday at 9 Eastern, 8 Central Standard Time in the U.S. and we love to see you guys there.
Yes.
So thanks
Oh.
for coming, guys.
Apparently, I need to do a retraction really quickly. I've just discovered that apparently KitchenAid is the one that chose butter as their color of the year. Pantone is their color of the year is mocha mousse.
Well, they're wrong.
Oh,
it should be
correct.
They're allowed to be wrong.
I mean, literally, like, hey, people learned about Pantone and what that was, but I do appreciate the dedication to the scientific process.
Thank
yeah,
you
we
for
didn't want to
being as accurate
be
as
wrong.
possible.
We don't want to
be wrong.
No, don't want
Yeah.
to
Mochi
I
mousse.
gave the wrong information.
Somebody would come in here, and you know that would be like the top. It's actually mocha mousse.
These bitches.
Listen, it's mocha mousse, but in the comments over here, we're calling
it.
it mochi mousse, and that brings me great joy. But Pantone.
There you go.
Pantone.
Well, thank
I
you.
like this one.
Thank you for the correction, and thanks for everybody hanging
Yeah.
out. And please take care of yourselves.
Yes.
Please take care of yourselves. We love you.
We love
Thank you
all.
for your support.
Bye, guys.
We'll see you Wednesday.
Have a good rest of the week.
Yeah.
Till Wednesday.